there is no off button. I don't know how to turn that thing off. Good morning from San Selva. It is August now, and I think we already passed the biggest heat waves, or at least I hope so. I still try to spend the days back at the apartment doing some office work, but I spend most of the nights here because it's much cooler out here, and my new kitten Pipa seems to enjoy my company. Today I thought I'll show you what a day in my life currently looks like. So I'm gonna finish my coffee and then we're gonna see how the animals are doing. I have some troubles with mites. Well, not I do, but my chickens. So I've already been using diatomaceous earth to prevent them from spreading, but I had two broody chickens that were sitting on the ground and they got infested with all the mites. So I decided to open the coop completely. They're completely free range now. I burned all the crevices in the coop with a blowtorch and also the ground the little coop was standing on. It looks much better now, but I think the chickens are enjoying their life outside anyways. But I lost two chickens already to predators and one freshly hatched chick to the mites. So I want to make sure my chicken population is increasing again. That's why I ordered an incubator. With this, I'll be able to make sure the chicks are hatched in a safe and pest-free environment. And I'm super curious if that's gonna work. Well, I guess I'm gonna read the instructions and tell you how this works later. I read the instructions and the only thing that I need is a standard water bottle to add humidity to the incubator. But for some reason the standard bottle top in China seems to be a different size from the one in Spain. So I ended up cutting off the thread to fit the bottle onto the water. And then of course there's one very important thing still missing, which is the eggs. Because right now that the chickens are outside all the time, they actually don't really come back into the coop to lay their eggs. So I'm gonna see if I can find some in the forest. Since the chickens are outside at the moment, they usually sleep up here in this tree. So I'm gonna see if they have a nest somewhere around. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find a nest because the forest here is just too dense and I can't really have a look in there. But I have 3 eggs safe in another place because I actually also had 3 broody ducks. When I first got them, I was told that I have 2 female and 1 male ducks, which would have been perfect. And this year, when they started laying eggs for the first time, I only found 2 nests, so I was certain I would have a lot of cute little ducklings. But it turned out that I actually have 3 females, and they were all hatching some eggs in various places, very well hidden. And one of the ducks is still at it, and of course, there's nothing gonna come out of this since they're all female. But since I had these problems with the chicken eggs, I just put some of their eggs underneath my duck. I left her some empty duck eggs and hoped she would keep the chicken eggs alive until the incubator arrived. So this is the duck egg. And I mean, I'm no expert, but it's super obvious that there's nothing alive in here. You can see the air bubble is almost half the size of the egg already, and it's not moving. I don't know why my duck still believes that she's gonna have children anytime soon. So I took all the eggs out and I'm gonna see how the chicken eggs are looking. In bright daylight, I wasn't able to see anything. So I had to wait until the evening to candle my eggs. And it's about time I have some breakfast, with my very own honey, of course.
Pipa?
And of course, I also prepared some breakfast for the cats and Binu.
Pino?
The last task of the morning is to water all the young trees that I have planted in the forest. These are the only ones that are not on the automated irrigation system because it is quite far from the food forest. So I water them once a week by hand, and this season I'm trying these self-watering spikes that should pull up water from the bottle. I made good experiences with these with potted plants, so I'm curious how it will work here in the forest. It's about 11 o'clock and it's getting pretty hot, so I'm heading back to my apartment to work inside until it cools down. I am currently working on a project that has to stay a secret for a little bit longer, but I am super excited to share it with you once it's done. And also, there is a lot of work on the computer that has to be done in order to keep this project running that most people aren't aware of. So I've just been picking up some garden supplies from a friend of mine who is moving to Barcelona, and I'm super excited to install this polytunnel soon on my land and do some more gardening in the future.
When I got home, I candled my eggs, but honestly, I'm not quite sure what I'm seeing. My chicken's eggs have a very strong shell, and I don't see clearly if the fetus is alive or not. This here is the only egg that I'm confident that there's a chick inside. Good morning. I got back home late yesterday, so I went straight to bed, and I'm gonna empty my car this morning after my little cuddle session with this one. Bino came to tell me it's time to work. Okay, let's get up. What is it? For those of you who are new to this channel, let me tell you a little bit about our setup here. Son Selva is completely off-grid, meaning we don't have running water and are not connected to the communal electric grid. We built this composting toilet 2 years ago, and I'm still very happy with it. The waste we produce in here and the grey water goes to the newly planted native forest. There are 2 videos about this setup that I linked above. As you can see, we have barely any water coming out of the tap, so I'm gonna call my water delivery guy to get a new truck here. I bought this land 3 years ago completely derelict, and there is no house in it. So while I am still waiting for a building permit, I'm renting an apartment in the nearby village and spend every other night here on site. The land is really rough. The soil is full of rocks of all sizes, and the topsoil is almost non-existent. In addition to that, we are dealing with an exceptionally high pH value. There is also a video about that. So growing my own food here isn't an easy task. I am not going to use the polytunnel as a greenhouse, because the climate here is very mild all year round. But I want to build some cold frames to start my own seedlings a bit earlier next spring. What I really need out here is shade. With some shade cloth on top of the polytunnel, I'm hoping to be able to grow more trees from seeds and cuttings, and maybe even sell some in the future.
So I got this new polytunnel, and now I need to figure out where I'm gonna put it, because although I have a lot of space, I don't have a lot of flat space. So I was thinking to extend this area. So this is the vegetable garden here, because it's quite big, and then maybe make a new door through that fence right where this plant is right now, more or less, so I can walk over from the veggie garden into the polytunnel through here. What do you think?
Not having a well is the biggest challenge for me. I'm constantly trying to save water, But I had to realize that it's better to spend a bit more money on water in the beginning. Once the food forest is growing and providing me with lots of organic matter and shade, I might be able to reduce my water consumption.
Yesterday I locked the chickens back in their coop to make sure I will be able to harvest some eggs, but so far nothing. Pino. Now that the chicken coop is all fresh and clean, I'm harvesting some lemongrass and other grasses I can find to make sure they have some nesting material.
I taught one of my pigs to sit and wait for her food, and I think it's just adorable. And they got so big.
As I said earlier, all the trees and plants of our food forest are on an automated irrigation system coming from this huge tank right here. And up to now, it was only running on gravity. So I was just using the couple of meters of difference to create water pressure, which honestly is just not enough to reach all the plants. So I ordered this pump and I'm gonna install it today to see how much it's gonna affect the water pressure, and hopefully in the future all of our trees are gonna get a good amount of water. For now I'm gonna connect it to this battery, but in the future I'm gonna add a solar panel to the system. The water has just been refilled, and whenever the truck comes to refill the water, he spills a little, so there's a lot of greenery right here that I need to cut back first before I install any of this.
1, 2, 3.
Running a project off-grid alone isn't easy. It means I'm in charge of everything. The planning, the building, the fixing, the problem solving. If I don't do it myself, I have to find someone who will, and that usually costs money. Although I'm curious about many aspects of off-grid life, there are certain parts I'm really not into. Electrics, for example. Pipes, pumps, and filters, they're essential, but my patience for them runs out fast. Still, living this way means facing those things head on. Sometimes that means learning just enough to get the job done. Sometimes it means trading skills with neighbors. And sometimes it means swallowing my pride and calling in a professional. Each challenge is a reminder. Off-grid life isn't about doing everything perfectly. It is about finding a way to keep the lights running, the water flowing, and your sanity more or less intact.
So, the moment of truth. Where's the outlet? Come on, Pina. Jesus. There is no off button. I don't know how to turn that thing off. Well, I guess I'm just gonna turn the water on and at least see if it's working. I mean, if water's coming out. But then I still don't know how to connect this like without getting an electroshock. If there's no off button. Let's see. Ooh, it's working. I must say that I am very fortunate that I have so many people who support me and help me here with this project. But nonetheless, most of the time I'm here all by myself and I have to figure out how to do things. And creating a food forest off-grid is not just about gardening. I also need basic skills in any other trade, from stonemasonry to electrician, apparently. So yeah, I got some more stuff and I hope I can fix this. I'm not quite sure, but we'll see. Okay, it took me a while to figure out how to connect this without getting shocked because there's no off button. So wish me luck. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Okay. Hold on. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Woohoo! We have water pressure. And now I just have to figure out how to connect it further. But good news, we did it with a couple of phone calls and the help of my friends after all, but I'm still proud of myself.
Because the pump didn't have a switch, I added one myself.
Of course, because all my connections were pretty loose, because up to now I didn't really have to worry about bursting water lines because I had super low water pressure. Now I have leaks everywhere. I'm soaking wet and running out of battery. But I hope you got a bit of an insight in what it means to run a project like this off-grid alone. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.